To give this a second to warm up, welcome everybody. This is a Japan travel update for, I guess today is the 20th of August, 2021. And it regards fall travel for coming to Japan from abroad and for those that are here in Japan. We'll discuss a lot of this too, but there's so many different things that have been going on. It's very hard to predict when travel is going to come back to Japan. In fact, I think it's downright impossible. And one of the things that I said a few months ago was we just don't know about the variants and certain things that are going to be thrown in the mix that is going to make it more difficult for travel in general. And this is the case right now. The Paralympics are about to start in 3 days. Is it the 21st or the 20th? I don't even know. It's Saturday. Let me just go over some of the details and information of what's going on here in Japan to help you plan your trip, and then go over my thoughts on when I think this travel to Japan will start again, and some of the procedures that I think you're going to have to go through if you do come to Japan. Get used to it. A lot of it is from the embassies themselves giving this information to people, to travelers, and the airlines as well will know. So when is the best time to come to Japan? When is it possible to come to Japan? Will it be possible to travel to Japan in fall 2021? I'm going to attempt to answer that in this live stream. Since the pandemic started in 2020, I was one of the first people to start these travel updates, if not the first person, back in the end of January, when we didn't know where this was going, because it was scaring a lot of our viewers here who didn't know whether or not to come for the cherry blossoms. And since then, I've been doing these updates maybe once a month. All right, I do it analog. This is a graph showing the prefectures right now that are under a state of emergency. Red shows state of emergency. Purple shows quasi state of emergency. A state of emergency is not a lockdown. If I turn it this way, it's even better. Look at that. Hokkaido to all the way down to Kyushu, there are places on every one of Japan's 4 main islands that are in some sort of a state of emergency, mostly around the urban centers. Down here in Fukuoka, down around the Kansai region where there's Kyoto, Osaka, and Hyogo Prefecture. And then here in Tokyo, we have Chiba, Kanagawa, Ibaraki, Tochigi, Gunma, Saitama. These are, and I believe Shizuoka is going to be there soon. These are all in a state of emergency. It's all because of the Delta variant, which is right now, it is out of control here in Japan. There's no other way to say it. Here's the data for from the Kyoto News from today up to August 19, 2021. You can see the first. I guess this would be the first wave, but it wasn't counted. The first wave, the second wave. This seems like the fifth wave, really. The third wave, the fourth wave, and we're in the fifth wave. We're not even peaked. We don't know how far this is going to go. Infections now approaching 150,000 in Japan. There's over 5,000 now daily in Tokyo. So that's the situation right now. We had all through 2020, the most that we had in 2020 was like a little bit over 1,000 people, close to between 1,000 and 2,000 people at the max at the start of summer 2020. We didn't have anything like this last year. This year, we are seeing numbers that are going way above that, and it's downright frightening, the spike that we're in right now. When you talk about vaccines in Japan, this is all important because I want you to understand where we're coming from when we start to predict when we're going to be able to travel to Japan. And the vaccines for this were doing awesome right before the Olympics, but now more than half of the people have been vaccinated or have at least had one shot. And you can see it's starting to slow down. A lot of that is due. It peaked about here, which was the third week in July, and it's starting to come down because Japan just does not have the supply right now. There are some supplies supposed to be coming, some new Pfizer coming into Japan in September, what I've been told. But until then, supply is very limited, and it's it's not evenly dispersed. The government is taking a lot of criticism on the handling of the vaccines. Some areas have more than other areas. It was pretty chaotic now, but people are starting to get the shots outside of the city of Tokyo. It's been really hard, especially Moderna at the mass vaccination sites, and the clinics and hospitals have had Pfizer. I've had both of my jabs, as we say, both of my vaccinations a month ago now. So it's been a month since my last vaccination, so I'd be considered fully vaccinated, which in this new world doesn't mean too much for travel. There is a call now, and the state of emergency that we're in right now, and don't get me wrong, Tokyo is in a state of emergency. For the people living here in Tokyo, we don't actually know what a state of emergency means. It's not a lockdown. Things are still open. Restaurants are open. Department stores are open. People are still traveling by train to work. They're discouraged from doing these things. We're all discouraged from doing these things, but people can still do it because it's not a crime to go out onto the streets. It's not a crime to walk down the street without a mask. There's no mandate. There's no law making people do something. There's no fines. There's no penalties for citizens, for residents. But there are for businesses that disregard the rules that are in place in the state of emergency, meaning restaurants have to close earlier. I'm not sure on the department stores, but now they're limited to the amount of people that can go into them, and they're being very strictly monitored now, where it's almost one in and one out, creating sometimes in front of the department stores mass amounts of people, which is very concerning, but they're dealing with it. And the spike that we see right now is concerning because it affects travel to Japan for us in fall 2021, and I think that it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to make a trip here or book a trip here in the fall of 2021. And it looks like winter's going to be really challenging as well. The safe bet is to aim for spring of 2022. And if you have to cancel your flights and rebook and get a refund and then rebook instead of continuously wondering when you're going to do it, again, the safe bet, and weather-wise, it's even better, would be for spring 2022. If you have your hearts and minds set on coming to Japan in 2021, there are some things that we understand about travel to Japan that will help you make a decision of whether or not it's worth it. Right now, I've had both of my vaccinations, and we're eligible as residents, at least in my local area, for a vaccine passport here in Japan, which Japan unveiled last month at the end of July. I was able to go and get one at the city office. It's basically just a piece of paper stating the vaccines, an official piece of paper stating the vaccines that I got, when I was vaccinated, and what vaccine that I took. I can take that official paper, and I believe there are 10 countries now that will accept that piece of paper and give me a not as long of a quarantine. Meaning, instead of quarantining for 14 days, I might quarantine for just 3 days. The problem with that is now the Delta variant, which throws a wrench in the plans that Japan had for tourism, because Japan was going the vaccine passport route, and now that Delta is so transmissible, and we're starting to see frightening spikes here in Tokyo right before the Paralympics, we kind of are starting to understand here that it might not be possible to use vaccine passports as a mode right now. So there is some thought and debate on the route to go for tourism to continue right now. The Prime Minister here is under a great deal of stress. His approval levels have never been lower, so there is more of an urgency politically to get stuff done, which includes possibly a stricter lockdown. Governors in the city of Tokyo, outside of the city of Tokyo, governors around Japan are calling for stricter measures. And this just came in yesterday, the news about this. They want the lockdown. They want more penalties and stricter enforcement, because it just seems like people are not listening and doing the lockdown. They're not doing the state of emergency like they were the first couple of times the state of emergency was called. Last year in May of 2020, you would go outside to Shibuya, you wouldn't see anybody out there. And now you see, if you go to the live cams right now, which you can on YouTube, you will see a lot of people out there. This impacts travel to Japan in autumn of 2021, because it doesn't look like the numbers are going to go down. And it's up to Japan to come up with a policy that allows us to get those numbers down so we can get tourism to return to Japan. Now, I think you have a hold on the situation a little bit better now. I printed out some forms that I want to show you. This is all very relevant. What's it going to look like, the landscape for travel to Japan in 2020? If we have some moderators here, if people are, I know this is a really tough topic to do, and we have to stay on target here, but there's nothing political about this. There's nothing that we need to argue about it. You can disagree with the numbers all you want. The purpose of this is strictly to show you the numbers, explain to you the situation here, and kind of give you an idea on how to help you plan your trip here. It's not about placing blame on anybody. We're in a situation that we're in. This is just, I live in it right now. I ride my bicycle around the town. I stay very local in my neighborhood, and I'll explain more about this to you, about my experience living in Tokyo over the last month through the Olympics. I'm going to talk about this to you as well a little bit later on as we talk about planning your trip to Japan, which is not going to happen. All right, I'll just go through this. I'll go through this. I thought I had another page here. Yeah, sometimes it's nice. So right now, you can get a lot of the information on what travel is like through the airlines. ANA has released this. All customers entering Japan, including customers of Japanese nationality, will not be allowed to land in Japan unless they submit a valid certificate of a negative COVID-19 test result. Meaning you have to take the COVID test within 72 hours before you depart to come to Japan. And you have to take another COVID test apparently when you arrive now. If you cannot confirm a valid certificate during boarding the process, we will refuse boarding according to the instructions of the Japanese government. It's very strict on this. In addition, the Ministry of Health, Labor, Welfare strongly recommends the use of prescribed format. So please download it from the following page and prepare it. So I downloaded it, okay, for you. This is what it looks like. This is the official COVID-19 testing sheets. It's 2 pages. Oh, it's printed front and back. I didn't know my. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know my printer could do that front and back. Interesting. Well done, Canon. Whoa. I did not expect that. So this is the certificate for travel. Because it's printed front and back, you can't read through it. It bleeds through. But I'll put a link in the description so you can find this. You need to have this. The ANA website has this on there so that you can download this and use it for travel. I guess it printed both pages here. They want the name of the medical institution, the address, the signature by the doctor. And here's the thing, right? With these forms, there is no wiggle room. Japan is a country of rules. If you don't follow and adhere to the rules to a T, there is no, upon arrival, flexibility with this. So make sure you have all of your documents prepared and ready, and all your T's crossed, all your I's dotted before you come to Japan. This goes for any kind of a procedure within Japan. As someone who's been living here for half my life, you learn that being a perfectionist with applications and forms is a necessity. There's no wiggle room if you make a mistake. I've had to travel great distances to redo forms that I had to take in person, get on a Shinkansen to do stuff like this. It was pretty crazy. All right, here's information. I got information, a ton of information. According to the Embassy of Australia, and this again is right now based on tests. This is what the embassy in Japan The Embassy of Japan in Australia writes about the procedure for coming to Japan, and I do not think that this is any different than other countries. I don't think they do it differently. And Australia is a good test, a good place to look for this information. Although the U.S., I'm sure that the Japanese embassy in the U.S. has this as well. Just the Australian one has done a pretty good job for it. The business track or residence track system is paused. This is from the Australian embassy. The embassy in Japan in Australia. I better just show it to you because I want to make sure we don't get this wrong here. So this is where the information comes from. This comes from today. It is dated. I printed it out today, August 16th, 2021. The business track and residence track system is paused. New entry into Japan from all countries and regions is paused in most circumstances. Visa exemption measures for Australian passport holders have been paused. Australian passport holders and travelers from Australia currently need a valid visa to enter Japan, meaning you have to go to the embassy and you have to have special permission for you to travel to Japan. You can't just jump on a plane and come here anymore. It's still this travel ban is still in progress. Number one, and there's 6 steps before you can leave Australia and successfully come into Japan. Here are the 6 steps. Negative PCR test results. You need to fill in that form that I showed you. A nasal swab must be taken within 72 hours before scheduled departure from Australia. If your flight leaves from Sydney they literally have the times to make sure that nobody makes a mistake. You have to leave, if your flight leaves from Sydney at 8 p.m. on Thursday, your testing window begins at 8 p.m. on Monday. It's by the time. They don't care if it's you have to be very careful. It's not about based on the day. It's about based on 72 hours, not 3 days. So just keep that in mind. 72 hours, not 3 days. Please see here a list of the medical institutions in Australia which can fill out the test certificate. You can't go to just any clinic or hospital to get this test. You literally have to check out the Japan embassy website for recommended locations. I would do that just to make sure you don't make a mistake. And this is probably what travel, if you do want to come to Japan in fall 2020, is going to look like. I don't think it's going to change at all. If you're a Canberra resident or otherwise located away from the listed clinics, please contact one of the clinics marked nationwide for a telehealth consultation. So they do have options here. So that's number 1, a negative PCR test certificate. You need that. 2, individual written pledge. This is interesting. This is where Travel Japan gets so interesting, all right? And I'm somebody, I don't have access to this. I mean, we don't hear about this. This is for you. You have to take I printed it out. This is a written pledge for individuals. It's been updated July 15th. Always check to make sure you have the most updated forms, okay? There's some leniency if it changes while you're in mid-flight, but the traveler must submit a completed and signed copy of this written pledge to the airport quarantine station when entering Japan. Print this out. This means this is page 1. This is the cover page. Page 2. This is crazy, and there's a check mark to confirm it that it's here. Don't throw out page 2. I state your name. Hereby declare the pledged items in item 1 below. The time of return, re-entry, entry in Japan. It's pretty interesting. I'll put a link in the description as well so you can check this out. It's all in bold and underlined. Wow. I pledge the following. The certificate, which I showed you, depending on my country. For 14 days after entering Japan, I will stay at the location of my home or accommodation. At the time of entering Japan, I shall install a smartphone application app designated by the Ministry of Health and Welfare on my smartphone. And every day for 14 days after entering Japan, I will report my health conditions to the local public health office and HCO via the app, so you have to have install an app. This is pretty consistent with the Olympians that came in here and the media that entered. At the time of entry in Japan, I will install an app designated by, so you have to install 2 apps. What? I will register my quarantine location, and every 14 days I will do it. So is it a second app? At the time of entry in Japan, if my smartphone is not compatible with these apps specified in D and E, or if I do not have a smartphone, I will rent a smartphone at my own expense in the airport quarantine area and carry it with me at all times. G, I will respond in good faith to communications and inquiries from the Ministry of Health, Labor, Welfare, and Immigration Service agencies of Japan and or other relevant authorities regarding compliance with this pledge. Wow. H, if I develop any symptoms within 14 days of entering Japan, I will immediately telephone the COVID-19 call center. I will follow the instructions for the local public health office and relevant authorities. Bold underline. I, if I am tested positive after entering Japan on the onset date is within 14 days of entry, I will cooperate with investigations by promptly presenting my passport number. So they want you to cooperate if I receive, and they put it in here because it's a pledge. It's not a contract. It's just a pledge. J, I will take these following actions to prevent the spread of infections. Wear a mask, wash my hands thoroughly, avoid closed spaces, crowded spaces, and closed contacts settings, the 3 Cs. So these 3 things are required of you to travel in Japan. It's not a mandate, but you pledge to wear a mask. You pledge to wash your hands. You should do that anyways. Um, then they want your information, your nationality, all the other information, your legal representative, your passport number, and it just makes it seem pretty official. But like, I don't know how official this is. If you're a lawyer, you can punch holes through this because it's just a pledge, right? I don't know. And the last page here is the 5 points of the pledge. Again, if you're traveling to Japan in autumn 2021, you're going to have to do this. You must stay at your quarantine location. You can't take public transportation. This is very interesting as somebody who lives here in Japan. You must stay. Hold on a second. You must not have direct contact with anyone you do not live with. You must not use public transportation, trains, buses, cabs, taxis, domestic travel, domestic flights, etc., depending on the country or region. So you can see the information there. You must report your health condition to the by email and smartphone app. So they list it out here. They even have the App Store and the QR codes to download these apps. If you receive instructions from the public health authorities, you are required to follow them. Very bold. And you must take the following actions to prevent. So they've made it more all on one page. So it's not just in the pledge. Like, for me, this is fascinating. It's not just in the pledge that you have to sign. They give you a one-page paper that, so like, just fortifies all that information in the original pledge. 5 pages. You have to sign the pledge. And I believe that Amanda from NBC6 Miami, when she came in here, had to sign a similar pledge, if not the same one, because this is from July 15th. Again, like, Japan is not a country that mandates things yet. But I think we're getting there because of how frightening the spike is and how little people are following it. I'm talking about people here in Japan. There's a good chance that the governors who are calling on it, this is just from yesterday's news, are calling for a lockdown. Very similar to how New Zealand is. After one infection, New Zealand locked down the entire country a few days ago for 96 hours or something, just to keep everybody at home, to try to contain this Delta variant. And this is going to be the travel situation if you come to Japan right now. It's not easy. And there are some people that are here. They got in through exemption visas. They got in through the Olympics or Paralympics as helpers and just essential, as people that are essential to be here. And there's some people that I wonder how they got here. You meet them on the streets, I guess family or something like this. So I think that's about all the information that I have for you. There's not a lot of positive stuff in the news. I just don't want to reiterate over and over again all the stuff that's happening in the news right now. We lost Sonny Chiba, who was in Kill Bill. He was if you remember, Uma Thurman went into the Okinawa sushi shop, and it was Sonny Chiba who taught her how to fight in Kill Bill, and we lost him to COVID 2 days ago, I believe, now. And officially, half of the population of Japan has received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, which is a good rebound. We lost a woman. This is very sad. We lost a woman who was pregnant and was delivering prematurely, but she had COVID. No hospital would take her. All the beds for her to possibly be in were full, so she had to deliver at home, and she lost the child. The country yesterday, and the day before yesterday when the story broke, was this is all we talked about. We talked about the hospital situations and the beds, and this is being addressed right now in Japan, and it's not good. There's a lack of for a decade or more. There's been a lack of medical personnel in the country. There's not enough doctors. There's not enough nurses, especially with Japan's aging population. And now with Japan's aging population and this surge in infections, it is very, very, for me, easy to see why we're in deep trouble here right now. And like we saw this coming too. It's not like we didn't, but it's going to impact travel coming to Japan in fall 2021. The vaccine passports, I don't know how effective they are when there's variants. So there's that as well. If you want to travel to Japan, get vaccinated. It doesn't seem like it is a requirement, but it makes it a lot easier. And I think it's going to be, because of the variants, the thing that is asked a lot about when you do travel. If you want to travel, get vaccinated. You don't have to get vaccinated, but I think if you want to travel, it's going to be a requirement. From the people that I talked to in the travel industry and the hotels, and I had to call to possibly book a hotel after the state of emergency, and I asked the hotel, I said, do we need to be vaccinated to stay there? And he said, no, but now that you mention this, we would prefer if you were. Like, yeah. So, of course, people feel more comfortable. And I think it's just a matter of time before people want to see vaccination certificates or vaccination passports. I have a form with two stamps on it showing my vaccination. So far, I haven't need to show that to anybody, but that's sort of the situation here. You can write in some questions now. I've been kind of going off on this. I do these because I really, really want to help you. And I know that a lot of you are stuck, especially students and people who have visas to come here to work. If you have some direct questions, I'm here for you now. I'll also start to talk about my own experience in living here for the last month through the Olympics. If you want to know that, is it a good bet? So 2022 is a good bet for travel. It's a good bet. What is your favorite ramen? Come on now, karamiso negi ramen. There you go. I would say, yeah. And again, it's a bet. If you asked me last year if the pandemic would still be going on today, I would say no. If there was no Delta variant, we would have this under control. I think travel would have started. But the Delta has changed everything. And I know you see this on the news all the time, and I'm not somebody who wants to talk about this much. That's why I'm doing a special episode on this. But for you to travel here, I need you. Everyone is in different countries and different situations. There's some people not impacted by Delta at all. Japan is highly impacted by it right now, and this is impacting travel for 2021. I don't see it happening. Yeah, as Jason writes in here, this variant threw a curveball to things. Absolutely, it wasn't even a curveball. It was like a 180. All right, it's just completely. All the rules that we had before are now thrown out. We can't have a state of, if people aren't. And again, here's my opinion on this. This is just my opinion. The surge is not completely directly related to the Olympics. It's summer vacation in Japan. Young people stayed home last summer. They want to go out this summer. The rules, it's a state of emergency and the lack of messaging from leaders. Young people are going out there. They're getting sick. They're bringing it home to their families. It was on the news on Thursday and Friday. Like, how are people getting sick? How is this spreading? People are going out, they're bringing it to their families, they're spreading it here. People, before they can get diagnosed, are going out and spreading it because the Delta moves so quickly and so easily. People are getting sick. There's not enough action for teleworking, working at home. 70% of the people are not working at home. Companies are not mandating that their people stay home. People are still taking the trains. They're still crowded in the morning. The thumbnail of this shows a weekend. All right. I had to take the train once in the last many months and once to go to Okutama, but I left at 4 in the morning. So there was virtually nobody on the train. So like a few times over the last 6 months, I've ridden the train. And since the spike has come, I've ridden the train 0 times, and it's what I see around the stations is worrying because there's still a lot of people riding and getting in confined spaces. And as Jason said, this new variant changed the game. It's a curveball. Traveling on crowded trains with this, yeah, no, thank you. This is bad. Asian movie enthusiast writes in here, thank you for the information. It is appreciated. I hope to visit Japan again in spring 2023. Listen to some Bandmade when we get a chance. Sounds good to me. Andrew writes in here, thanks for everything and stay safe. I work in a restaurant and worry all the time now what's coming. Yeah, there was discussion now on if these plastic sheets that they have in Japanese convenience stores and restaurants, these partitions actually work against the variant that we have. So it's good that we're asking these questions, but I wish that we'd ask these questions before. Right? SOE isn't a joke. Hope people might be more careful and concerned in Japan, writes in Sakura. Jalapeno, see fully vaccinated coming from safe country like Hong Kong. Will Japan consider decreasing quarantine from 2 weeks? Jalapeno, the answer is yes. The vaccine passports were, and I have it right here, the documentation for this. Hong Kong is one of the countries. Mandatory quarantine for holders will be 14 days at a designated hotel, shorter than 21 days for those who have not been fully vaccinated. So Hong Kong's mandatory quarantine is 21 days, but if you have a passport, it's lowered to 14 days. So instead of 3 weeks, it's 2 weeks, which is pretty crazy because the testing that we have would be able to figure this out after about 6 to 10 days. But the vaccine passport probably is a necessity if you want that. It's a jalapeno. But I still see like Germany vaccine passports will be exempt from submitting. So if you have a vaccine passport, you don't have to show a negative test result for COVID upon entry. So there's different conditions for having the passport. It doesn't mean the same thing for everybody. Joy, this is interesting, right? For example, Thailand's Phuket, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao Islands have stipulations for Japanese passports here. Holders will be exempt from a 14-day quarantine. So if you're Japanese and you want to go to Phuket, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao, you don't have to go through you don't have to do a 14-day quarantine if you have a vaccine passport. That's good news. I actually would consider traveling there now. Lithuania holders will be exempt from PCR testing within 24 hours upon arrival and a 10-day quarantine upon entry instead of a 14-day. So Lithuania decreases it from 2 weeks to 10 days. So the vaccine passport reduces quarantine times, but it doesn't make it 0. And this is so critical for those that are planning to travel. You can get a vaccine passport. Don't imagine the vaccine passport gives you an open border. It might just give you some decreased quarantine status. Again, because the variants are so unknown. No country, including Japan, is going to open the border right now and give everybody free access like you can do domestically in the US. You can't do that here. Right now, again, and I reiterate this, the governors of Japan, many of them are calling for a lockdown. They want to stop interprefectural travel. And I could travel to Kagoshima if I wanted to right now. I could get on a plane and travel there. There's nothing to stop me. There's just the state of emergency, and then there's nothing to stop me except societal pressure. Governors want a lockdown where there's more than just societal pressure because it's obviously not working. This was in the news just on Kyoto News just recently. J Jersey Girl writes in, I'm vaccinated, and this is my second year of not going to visit my family in New Jersey, and I live in Utah. Hopefully 2022 Japan meetup with old mates. Please come to Japan in 2022, like in summer. I still want to rent a Yakatabune boat on the Sumida River and have you, if you're visiting here, join me for like a yakiniku dinner or dinner on the boat where we can cruise down the Sumida River for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I would love to do this. And I wanted to do it this summer. I couldn't because of the pandemic. So I'm hoping 2022 summer I can rent a boat and invite you on board. We can have a little dinner. I love this so much. It would be so much. This would be the highlight of Return to Life. I'm planning that for 365 days from now. How's that? 350 days. We'll put it in July. Things should be better. So the vaccine passports the stipulations are not so strong. I mean, I don't know. I still don't want to quarantine for 10 days. I don't want to quarantine at all. You know, I got two vaccination shots, but it still doesn't mean that you won't infect populations that are not fully vaccinated yet. So there's that. We have to be mindful of it. With all that information, I hope that this helps you cancel your flights for September. It's not going to happen. Why are you going? Are you going to have booster shots like the U.S.? Japan right now is just getting the shots. So booster shots are kind of recommended about 6 to 8 months after. I don't think we're in the booster shot area right now. We're not talking about this at all at the moment. Irvin is here with us. Thank you, Irvin. It's nice. Thanks for the support, buddy. What is quarantine like in Japan? Some of the YouTubers before the Delta surge came about 3-4 weeks ago at the start of the Olympics, some YouTubers had gone over to the United States and had come back. And Reina is one of them, a YouTuber who did very well documenting her experience leaving Japan and then coming back to Japan. And I watched that, and that was really interesting to see. Again, there's other creators doing that. I think that it's good to, as a community, as YouTube being a community, it's very important that we all come together and share information, share experiences that other people had that is relevant, because you, my viewers here, need to see that information. She did a great job of documenting that. Jennifer French, the fireworks are still on. We have special access, special permission for this. There's no spectators, but the Only in Japan Fireworks Festival is going to happen on November 3rd, 2021. Because of the fireworks have been canceled throughout Japan, we will be holding a second one of these. Now, we raised $60,000 last year for the fireworks industry that was devastated. They don't have any work. They can't keep reaching to the government for help. And when the Fireworks Association told me that, said that this was an option, I said yes right away. And finding a place that was impacted, that really needs our help was a little bit tough, because there's a lot of places. But we settled on Nagano because they were open to us doing this. And they were also had a tough year in 2019 following the Hagibis typhoon, and I thought it was a good place to hold our Only in Japan fireworks show there. And we'll be sinking in, I'm keeping overhead very low, and we'll be sinking in as much as we possibly can just to create fireworks. I'll be making a documentary for those that back. I'm doing it for free. I'm not getting anything from it, so that is something that I think is important to do. The Kickstarter will launch in September, I believe September 1st, somewhere between September 1st and September 7th in this window. The earlier, the better. And we want to crowdfund all the way to almost the event start time, and try to get those rewards to you, start to send them out even before the festival. If we can do that, that'd be pretty awesome, where you have the towels and stuff before we do the live stream. That would be the ideal situation this year. We learned a lot from last year, I have to be honest with you. It was a pretty good learning experience. Sammy P46 writes in here, so you think students won't be able to enter till January next year, 2022? I was hoping November, December. Sammy, you bring up a very important question. Students, people that have a purpose to be here, non-tourist related, it is very possible that you can get your visas. I think that Japan has done a pretty not good job of this. I think you would agree with me. I think they're doing a better job as of a few months ago. We do have some people that I know that have come into Japan on student visas. It just took a lot of time to get through this and to understand, I guess, the procedures. I still don't understand. It's always changing. But they are bringing people in. If you can, just do it. And if you can't, then you can't. It's very, very hard to say for sure. It just seems to me the writing on the wall is that Japan won't be open until they can control their own pandemic. They can control the situation here before they even consider tourism. Let me put it to you in this way. Majority of people were against, including me, holding the Olympics right now. I want the Olympics to go on. I love the Olympics, but not right now. We just didn't want it right now. The same as there's no difference with tourism. We just don't, nobody here wants it right now. Even though the situation might be more stable in some other countries, it's not here right now. And the Lambda variant, somebody brought that in a week ago related to the Olympics, and I believe they clamped that down pretty quick. But like, it's really, really not the best time to be traveling to Japan. Fuji Rock Festival 2021, thousands of people, no vaccine required. It's very concerning, right? Right now, the surfing event that took place during the Olympics, the small town was not equipped for the amount of people that came to the beaches to crowd to watch. The town has an infection problem right now. The mayor of the town gave an interview with Kyoto News and the media outlets saying that they just could not cope with the crowds that came to watch the surfing events because you could see into them. A lot of people came to the venue and there was no social distancing, and the Delta is so transmissible. The town is in deep duty right now. So there's a lot of situations like this right now, and Japan is going through some changes. They get there, but right now there's some growing pains. Department stores are having big problems because they're letting one in. Most people are waiting in areas outside, so it looks like a clump of people. The best thing is just don't go out. My biggest, and I want to, these questions are great. Just you can keep them coming. I'll try to stay with you for another 20 minutes and do this for an hour. I think it's important. Shane here, thank you. Nice to see you. Nice to see our extended Patreon family here. It's very hard for me as a YouTube creator right now. I haven't released anything on the main channel for a few months. A lot of it, there's a lot of reasons why. One of them, and a big one, is that I have a lot of episodes that are done, but there are shots that are missing that I want to take that I can't. I had about 5 location shoots set after the state of emergency ended the first time, and it was about to go when the new state of emergency was enacted before the Olympics, and I couldn't go on those. And the result was that at one time, all my location shoots outside of Tokyo were suspended with no date planned. A couple of them now in September have been scheduled because that's the end of the state of emergency, but it could be changed too. So I've been deeply frustrated, everyone. It's hard. And to do live streaming, to go outside and travel around Tokyo. This morning, I wanted to go to a shrine and show it to you, which is about an hour away. And then I saw some of the live cameras and felt there's too many people outside, and it just seems not the right thing to do on the weekend to take you out to a place that could be crowded. It wasn't the right thing to do. And if you see the numbers, it's easy. I can understand. I was taking you around town during the Olympics. Numbers weren't that bad. Now they're just frightening. And it's not the right time to do live streams at a restaurant. It's not the right time to do. Other YouTubers can do it, and they shouldn't do it. A YouTuber should not be getting on a Shinkansen and traveling for a location shoot right now. It's not about the work. It's just you should not be doing it right now based on the state of emergency and the way that the Japanese feel. As being a foreigner, I'm very mindful that my actions are monitored by my neighbors. I'm someone used to living here, and I try my very, very best. I'm not perfect. I try my very, very best to adhere to the rules because I know my neighbors are watching, and I know I want to do the right thing. And I want them to feel comfortable living near me too, as I want to feel comfortable knowing that they're doing the responsible things as well. It's karma, I guess. I want my neighbors to be responsible, so when they get in the elevator and touch stuff, I sort of feel safe knowing that they're responsible, so I'm responsible. So even if I don't wash my hands for 20 seconds, and I wash it for 18, I'm probably still going to be okay. It's a community thing. And I'm a part of a community here. I respect my community. I love my area. I love Chua Ward. That's where I live. I'm riding my bicycle in Chua Ward. I'm trying to find stories for you. Some of them might be food trucks. Again, they might be not things that you want. They're interesting stories, and I'm happy to share that with you, but it's not what I want. It's not what you want sometimes, and it's just a really challenging time. If we would, if we all would do the right thing, we wouldn't be in this situation. See Florida, Michael writes in here, you love Japan. Stay safe, John. We love food trucks, though. Marty's here, which completes the three amigos. We love you, Marty. Anything you do is good. That's too kind. That's not always true. Does the government... That's kind of true. Does the government now consider vaccines choice? There's no vaccine mandate here. Look, I think it's very hard. Again, I lived here for half my life, and I've been wrong a lot. And in my first 10 years, I didn't really understand Japan. And even now, there's a lot that I don't understand. But I can say that every year I understand a lot more. And Japan is a place where we all do things for the greater good of everybody here. You know, CEOs don't make $1 billion a year. They make just a pretty reasonable salary here, just because it's a societal thing. You don't drive an extravagant car. It's a societal thing. You know, most people don't. Some people do it, and it's cool when they do, and it's cool and it's amplified when you see a killer car out there on the streets. It's amplified because not a lot of people would have that, because that's not how Japanese live. We live within our means. We live responsibly. We live for our communities and our families. And quite often people put others before themselves in a way. Now, this is on the surface, right? At home, it's all a little bit different. We all have masks in Japan too. You know, people are very kind and happy, and hospitality is great when they're in front of you. And then when you're gone, people will talk about you. This is everywhere. It's not limited to Japan. Politeness stops as soon as you leave. So, you know, somebody once said. But look, but people also practice, karma, and do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And my neighbors believe the same thing, most of them. And we're very responsible, and I think we look out for each other, and that's what makes Japan work. When everyone is looking out for everybody else, it seems to work. When grandmothers are watching the alcohol vending machine so kids don't buy a beer, it works. Because the grandma's going to tell the family of the kid who bought the beer. That's why you didn't need ID for tobacco vending machines for a long time, but the kids still bought them, and now you need ID. So Japan society changes, but if people do the responsible thing here more often than not, and that makes Japan work. It's why Japan is safe. It's why Japan, we don't have confrontations. It's why when we're waiting in line, people protect that and they wait in line properly. It just works. So the state of emergency and not having lockdowns and not having fines and not doing it the way that you do it in Australia or do it in another country, it works here in Japan. But we're seeing that maybe it doesn't. And when it doesn't, then Japan changes. Japan reacts. And that's where we are right now in this. And I don't know how Japan's going to react. But based on the popularity or lack of popularity of the prime minister and the government right now, we're going to see some changes. And with this show, you're going to see some changes too. I got to change my content. Right now, I'm working on a video that I'm trying to make more interesting. I watched it. It wasn't interesting enough. And I could upload it, but it's not interesting enough. So I'm adding in some more effects and some more background, and I think it'll be a little bit more interesting. It's hard. I want you to love what we as creators want you to love what we create. And it's hard to do it when you're packed into a bubble that's even tighter than last year. So now we have less that we can work with. Um, these are really good questions, and I know that the community here is going to support me, but it's also understand because I'm somebody who invites those that are not in the community to join me, and I want people to understand. Andrew, thanks for joining as a traveler. I really appreciate that. Michael Sassano, hi John. Maybe do a video of your top 10 things you've experienced while living in Japan. Michael, I think this is a really good idea, and I think over the course of the next 2 weeks, as I ride out this pandemic, the state of emergency, I'm gonna be doing more stuff like this at home, and I'm gonna be doing more interviews. I'm gonna be going back to OBS. I'm gonna be doing more Twitch. I'm going to be doing Twitch, I should say. Apologies to those that are supporting me over there. I will be doing Twitch tomorrow too, by the way. This is I'm gonna try to do it every Sunday plus fill in the schedule. Because I can't go out and film, I'm gonna have to do more stuff from home. So that just means that I'll have to do what Irvin says, which is more delivery food. Yeah, I gotta go back to Uber. You know what? I gotta get that 1 kilogram. This is gonna make somebody really happy. I gotta get that 1 kilogram ultra cheese Domino's pizza. I'm gonna have to do that. Okay, I'm gonna have to order kaiseki ryori and have it delivered, and Kanai and I share that with Leo. This is what's gonna have to happen for the channel to keep going, because this is what I do for a living, and I wanted to be interesting to you. Yeah, I've received $200 in super chats from somebody in particular. I don't want to put him on the spot, but yeah, Nicholas wants me to eat that cheese pizza, and very much so. So I must do it now. And the pizza's like $50, by the way. So I think I've been more than compensated for that. If you do have ideas for stay-at-home stuff, I don't want to do any more indoor camping. I think it's already been done. I don't know. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that I can do, but it just can't be the same. And I know that the situation is worse than last year when I was doing indoor stuff. We'll get back to it, folks. We're gonna get back to travel. Don't think that this is Nicholas. Nicholas, I didn't know you were watching. All right, I didn't want to put you on the spot because of this. And Nicholas wants to make. Oh, you know what? Okay, Nick. All right, you know Nicholas. Okay. I'll do this. I'll do this next month. I'll go, or sorry, next week. I'm gonna get the 1 kilogram cheese pizza if it's still in the menu, and if not, I might have to manually add 1 kilogram of cheese pizza. All right, I'll do this for Nicholas, and for me, because if I'm staying inside, and Nicholas is looking after us, not my cholesterol, but Nicholas is looking after me by keeping me at home, and I shouldn't be outside. I shouldn't be doing too many things outside of my neighborhood. So thanks for that. Cheers with a matcha latte that just from Coca-Cola that's on the market right now, which is pretty good, I think. Which is very good. It's very good. Wow, this is very good. And it's not that strong in the matcha taste. Hold on a second. This comes from the Coca-Cola company, I believe. It's not a matcha latte. This is not very, it's not overpoweringly bitter, nor is it too sweet. Sorry for the backlighting, but this is from Coca-Cola company. That is, oh, there it is right there. Coca-Cola company. Wow. No, JKO Adventures, it is just mildly sweet. Mildly. So I think you would love it. It's not, Japanese wouldn't want matcha being, with sugar, but I think as a latte, it's just mild. It's good. That is perfect sweetness. It's not too sweet, and that makes it brilliant. It's refreshing. Wow. Lisa O, first stay safe for your family, then invite us over for cooking project. A midnight walk or something. Midnight walk's probably okay because there's not a lot of people. As long as I stay within Chuoku in my neighborhood, I want to adhere to staying local, where the people know me, where everybody knows my name. They don't know my name. I wish that they did. I should wear a name tag. LA Rain writes in here, what about natural immunity due to recovery from COVID? Any ideas if Japan is recognized this the same way European countries are? I know Sweden was doing something like this in the beginning, and I don't think that there's any way to prove it, so I don't know, I don't think that that's possible unless there's a way to prove it. But even then, like internationally, I think it's just recognized that a vaccine. Look, hold on a second. I don't want to take you here because it's a mess here. Look, I have a vaccine passport. I don't know if it's still here. I put it here like 10 years ago. Okay. My hair's all a mess. That's why I wear the hat. I tried to comb my hair. It didn't take. All right. It's not too bad. All right. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Hey, came out okay. All right. I have my diving manual. So this is my traveling stuff because I'm a dive master. So I scuba dive and I have a diving manual. I have tables. I have scuba diving cards. Here's my dive master certification. It's true story, dive master. And in here I had, didn't I? I had my little yellow book, which is a vaccine passport. Hold on a second. And this was necessary for me to travel. I had to prove that I had the cholera vaccine for some of the countries that I traveled to, which is freaky. Where'd it go? Oh, I guess it's not in here. It's been like 10 years since I used it though. But when I was traveling around the world, I needed to have a vaccine passport. I needed to have a book that listed all of my vaccines. I guess I'm sure it's up there somewhere. I think you get the picture. It's a little book that I got, and it had the doctor's seal. It had the vaccine passport. Oh, crud. Kanai's gonna kill me if I don't take the trash out. Oh, crud. She's gonna kill me. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I chased him down the street and I got the trash guy. I told him my wife will kill me if I don't get the trash out, and he could understand. He saw the fear in my eyes. At least he couldn't see my face, and I had to grab the mask. And then when I out there and I threw out the trash and I gave it to him, and he let me throw the trash in the back of the truck, which is pretty cool. I ran back in here. I forgot my keys. I need my key to get into the door. So I had to wait for this young kid that came out, and he kind of looked at me funny, and then I told him my apartment number, and he didn't seem to care anyways, and he just ran off. So I apologize. But hey, I'm not gonna get in trouble because Kanai would kill me. She's not here right now, but if she were, she would be very disappointed, and we don't want that. Okay. IDDQD, thank you. Welcome. I appreciate that. I didn't have too much more to add. I think he missed the truck. No, I made it. Can you hear me? Are we good? Anybody there? Hello? We still good? You need a beer. Good job. Okay, if it says good job, then we caught up here. I hope that there's no lag here. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be doing a live stream for this long. I thought it'd be over before. And the trash guy's actually, technically, he's 5 minutes early. Kanai just sent me a picture with Leo. She's out visiting her dad. She said she saw that and it's okay. See? Try to do the right thing. Just refresh. If you're having any problems, just refresh. Oh Lord. Okay. So final words. Tomorrow, what's the deal with the trash? The trash man comes on Saturdays and Wednesdays, I believe, for my area. And if you miss it with stinky diapers, we'll have to smell it for another day. And I have to take the trash out in the morning, but I was up editing until 4, and then the power went out, and I didn't take, and I freaked out trying to figure it out. It was just a power outage for the building. It was planned. I didn't get the memo. And it came back on at 4:30, but I was all confused. I'm still confused. Who am I? I see somebody found the Karate Kid Easter egg. Yeah, all right, I just want to put a ribbon on this here. my experience the last 30 days have shown that yeah, the spike is more as a result, not of the Olympics, just of summer vacation and young people going out. That spike is leading to transmissions like crazy. People just have defied the suggestion through the state of emergency system not to go home and not to travel. So they're still going out and they're still doing it. And me as a YouTuber, it's very hard for me to make content. I want to travel. I can't. I shouldn't. So I don't. And it's hard because I need content. And I completely understand that. Should you travel to Japan? I don't know. I think these are questions you'll have to ask, but it seems apparent you're going to have to quarantine whether you're vaccinated or not. If you're fully vaccinated, and even if you've had the booster, it looks like travel until 2022 is you will quarantine. And even if you, even for the case of Hong Kong with a vaccine passport, what I've learned is that even if you have the vaccine passport, your mandatory quarantining entering Hong Kong is just a reduction from 21 to 14 days. So even with the passport, there are still some strict measures involved. It's not like 72-hour quarantine. That would be cool. You actually have to do the 14 days still. That looks like, and if it's worth it to you, you will. Somebody asked me, what are the travel trends for Japan right now? And I said that people who do come here, and they do, some people do get visas to travel here. I don't know how. They plan, instead of like 2 weeks holidays, the trend now, and this is something you should possibly consider, Tokyo Wanderer, that's a pretty stressful ordeal for a beer to help you emotionally recover from Trash Gate. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm gonna need it. What was I talking about? I remember, just forgot again. It could have been the matcha or Trashgate. It looks like that travel is going to be, pretty much impacted until 2022, and I just don't see that. I don't see that changing. Kanai and I want to go back to the United States. Right. Kanai and I don't want to. Thank you, Ryan. Kanai and I want to go back to the United States for the holidays. Looks like it's gonna be really challenging. But if you're thinking of coming to Japan, and I want you to think differently about this now, okay? If you're thinking of coming to Japan for a holiday, even in next year, probably early on, instead of you're probably going to want to make it longer. Instead of like 7-day itineraries or 14-day itineraries, people are thinking more 28-day itineraries. If you're going to travel all the way to Japan and do a 14-day quarantine, you're going to want to stay here longer. If you're going to do if you're going to do the time in the hotel, you're going to want the freedom on the other side and probably stay here for 3 months and telework from Japan. I was talking with who is it? Dimitri on TSS Killer on Discord server, and he said, yeah, he's teleworked from Tokyo before. The Wi-Fi is pretty good. I wish he could make it here now and do that, because that'd be pretty cool to hang out with Dimitri. So that's the situation here. If you come to Japan, plan on longer trips and try to bring the work with you and work from your hotel, and you can still order Uber Eats, and you can get all the Japanese food that you want, and you can watch Japanese TV, and you can look out the window. Those are things that you can do. Yeah. Telework and holiday. Exactly, Joy. And then when you go back home, if your country welcomes you back, if you've been fully vaccinated, you don't have to vaccinate. You don't have to quarantine. But Japan is going to have, I believe, they're going to have the quarantine for 2 weeks until 2022. So just put that into your plans. And if you have an event that you need to go to, plan to come 2 weeks early and put it in the middle of your trip then. I think that's common sense things that you can do. If you go to the States, I can house sits. Oh, Breed's living in the trunk. Yeah, you know what? I need to bring some food and deliver that to you. How do I get into the trunk to deliver it? I guess I can do it through the back seat. Sometimes there's little teeny compartments. Chan, the joke will never get old. That's funny. I'm gonna get back to the rest of my day. I have to edit tomorrow. Despite all this that I've been talking about, Tokyo Station is in the Yaisu side is in, I believe it's still Chuoku, right? I don't know. It's a technicality, but we have the Japan JR Rail Cafe to do a live stream tomorrow morning. Cody is going to be with me starting at 9 a.m. on this channel, and I'll open it up like 6 hours before. You'll be able to watch me and Cody talk about our experience in Tohoku eating noodles. And Cody is in charge of the Japan Ramen Guide Japan Instagram site. It's very popular. He posts some amazing information about ramen shops all around Japan. And I think it's about time we had a specialist join us on the show who could talk about something that we are deeply interested in. Ramen. I think I can try to eat one of the ramens too on the live stream that we bought up in Tohoku. I've been saving it for a while. And if you have any questions about ramen, you want a change of pace, that tomorrow would be that day. It's a studio shoot. I'm bringing my laptop and cameras, just like Peter and I did back in April. We'll be doing this again in August. And thank you to JR East for allowing me to do another live stream at the JR Rail Cafe on the Yaisu side of Tokyo Station. I believe it's closed down just for us, so there's no risk of transmission. And Cody and I have both been fully vaccinated, and the people around us have been fully vaccinated, but we'll still take some precautions, which is necessary in the days that we live in. Any questions? I think we're good. Nicholas, pizza on, so I'll get to it. Got to get to the pizza. Nicholas said 1 kilogram, do it. I'll see if I can add on to that. Maybe get 2 kilograms. Don't know why I'm doing this. Do I have to eat the whole thing, Nicholas? Don't answer that. Don't want to put Nicholas on the spot. Whew. See everybody. Have a good day. Stay safe. If you have any questions about planning a trip, feel free to contact me directly. I'm on Patreon, the Discord server. We've got a ton of communities there. You can talk about food. You can talk about studying Japan. You can talk about anything. And if you go over to the Discord server right now, I will be on there for some question and answer. If you want to ask me, we're going to talk about traveling to Japan through the Discord server. So if you want to talk with me right now, hold on a second. Where's the? Do I have my other phone? Here it is. I might be able to sneak onto Discord on this thing here. I'll be able to do a Q&A. So moderators, I guess we can try this out here. Why not? Unless it makes me register. All right, as soon as this live stream ends, I will jump into a fireside chat where you can ask me questions. So come with some questions. You can come and just listen and stalk in the background. That's cool. But if you can raise your hand, and also I will take some of your questions and talk about it, because it's one thing to talk about this through the chat. It's another thing though to ask me in person, and I want to help you with your travel questions. So discord.gg/onlyinjapan. Join me there live right now. I'm going to be logging on in about 3 minutes from now. Stay safe, everybody. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with a live stream from Japan Rail, from Tokyo Station. It's going to be pretty cool because I'm going to be at home for most of the rest of the state of emergency. Bye, everybody.